question again?
We go for a little adventure into a time machine. This contains every piece of art I've ever done since the year 2003. Hi, I'm Chris Ducharme. I am the owner, writer, and artist for Anonymi Press. It is an independent publishing company dedicated primarily to creator-owned comic books. Something that the writer and the artist actually came up with and created, basically. We have things like Marvel and DC, which are owned by corporations, and then we have things that are owned by the actual people working on it. So that's what I specialize in with Anonymi Press. It was probably when I was about 9 years old, I found my first comic book, which was Sonic the Hedgehog. I was in love with the video game, so it was only natural. And I started buying a bunch of stuff since then, and I just instantly fell in love with the idea of comic books as media. So fast forward 20-something years, and I mean, I've always wanted to do comic book work, so it seemed natural to just create it, and then I needed an avenue to get it out there, so that's when I started publishing.
I like the fact that I'm self-taught, just because photography really is an art form. I'm Ginaya Jesmer of Ginaya Jesmer Photography. I specialize in fashion and fine art photography, although I have done a lot of other things as well. I have done band photography through Stylist magazine. I've captured a few weddings. I've done a lot of portrait work. I worked for the Uniter for a little bit as well. But I mostly freelance out of my studio and various locations.
It's based off of my grandmother. So she was the one who taught me to sew, taught me to do all sorts of different crafting. So it was kind of fitting to name it after her. Her middle name was Alice and her first name was Bernice, but her nickname was Bunny. I'm Elizabeth Tuff of Bunny and Alice, and I do a variety of arts and mediums such as jewelry, vape designs, and bags. Bunny and Alice is just a small in-home business right now, mainly focusing on vape designs, so that's painting people's e-cigarette devices, making cases for them. I also design vape cabinets to keep all of your juice and everything in. With Bunny and Alice, I can be creative and I can kind of expand on the different mediums that I use to create unique pieces. As far as promotion goes, I have a store on Etsy and we have our own Facebook page.
Mostly like friends for the first little while, messaging me and being like, hey, so like I really like your stuff, and then they would get me in touch with people. The first people like that I worked for was, and I still work for them, which is Boss Dance Company. Took pictures at a lot of different events. Like I covered dance for MS in 2012, I think was when I started working for them. That really helped, I guess, make me more driven to get other clients. And then in the last few years, which is when I've been like really starting to work at it and actually make it my career, it's been a lot of tackling social media and like trying to find different revenues to market myself. It's nice to work for somebody else when they have ideas, so you have a direction that you can go in and you can kind of, especially when they're open to it, feed off of each other's ideas and really just like get something that you wouldn't have been able to make yourself too. So a nice combination is like always good, but I don't know, I do like working for myself as well. It's very satisfying.
It's very empowering, but it's also a learning experience because you have to learn how to cope with making the wrong decision, and you have to be able to be open-minded because you have the ability to expand, but you have to expand to meet your market. So it's a learning process that allows for independency.
Doing it yourself, it's like creating magic. It's like creating something that didn't exist before. I'm sure it's something that a lot of creators go through, but it's just knowing that someone's going to pick it up and look at it and read it. It's the most amazing feeling in the world. It's
probably, again, the whole like you are your business aspect. Whereas when I go out and I meet people, it's not just I'm Ginaya Jesmer, right? It's I'm Ginaya Jesmer Photography. I'm a photographer, these are the kind of images that I shoot. For example, when I meet someone, I usually think if I want them to model for me, or like if they mention like they're having a wedding, or like they're hosting an event or something big like that, like I always want to get my business out there. I don't want to be really annoying with it, obviously, but I mean, it's always going to be in the back of your brain when you own your own business. I don't know, you can't be too crazy, because when people think of your brand, they're also going to think of that. And like a first impression really means something.
When you're doing it by yourself, you literally learn everything and build the whole thing from the ground up. There's a lot of work that goes into getting companies to run. You never can prepare for that when you start. You only learn it when you do it.
There's a lot of responsibility. Being able to have that control in the creative process, it's definitely something that I've learned that I can expand on my creativity. So I've learned new techniques. I've learned to be able to be more open-minded with being flexible with what the market demands are. So it's nice to be able to learn those processes and to be able to bring that together as somebody who's in control of what's going on. And I definitely enjoy it.
If you're your own business, you have to really know that anything that you do or say might affect your business in the future. Once you've owned your own business, you realize there's a whole other side of things, like marketing and like getting your work out there.
Some goals would be to get more work. Like I say, I really want to work with more people. So the long-term goal is to finish The Tempest Moon and then work on another series. It's been a story I've been working on for close to a decade, so it really needs to get out of my head.
I'd like it to be something that I can continuously rely on. I'd like to be able to expand with my creativity, and I would like to soon employ and have my work out there in stores. 2015
was kind of the year that I decided I wanted to step things up, and I wanted to have like hairstylists and makeup artists and like all these big teams of like designers and stylists and that sort of thing. In the future, I definitely want to take my work to more magazines and publications. I want to get into commercial photography a lot more. I see myself working with maybe higher brands in the future. Okay, if you're a model, definitely show up on time, show your photographer some respect. If you're going to cancel, try to do that in advance. Editing photos is like a big no-no in like the photographer world. If you hire somebody, or if you usually it's more slack if you hire them, but if you are just like modeling time for print and that sort of thing, a lot of photographers will be really fussy about you editing their images or putting filters on them. Always crediting the photographer is like another big one in the industry. Don't, I guess, erase any watermarks or anything like that unless you have permission from your photographer. As for photographers, I just say like get out there, really get to know your own style, and keep in mind that it is an art form. Like there's not always going to be a yes, no, right answer kind of thing. It's more of like a gray area because it's art, and that's kind of what's beautiful about it.
Go to my website, anonymipress.com.